Good morning, my fellow scientists. It is Thursday, July 27th, 2017, and let's recap the battery project. I started off trying to figure out if I could make an all-iron battery that would have an iron anode, iron metal anode, and an iron salt cathode that could avoid the problems associated with having two chemistries. That is to say, if chemistry on the anode side contaminates chemistry on the cathode side, that causes the battery to be degraded. All iron means that can't happen. Iron also has the advantages of being relatively safe, relatively air insensitive, and fairly cheap. So iron seemed like a good candidate. Over the last 7 months, I have assembled a bunch of different battery prototypes, from a classic galvanic cell to this layer cake cell, and now today a bag cell. All of these are just different ways of assembling the same three components. So let's talk about what those three components are. So how do you assemble this bag cell? We need some iron or steel wool and a aluminum current collector to carry any current generated by that iron through the load. I then polymerized an acrylic acid copolymer gel in the paper separator, and that's there to be an ion exchange membrane and help hold the different species of iron on their appropriate side of the battery. Now for the cathode, we need iron 3+ to accept the electrons, but we have it in the form of iron EDTA. Formal charge is 3. The whole thing has a negative charge. Iron 3 EDTA is pretty good at being reduced, but we still need some sort of paper spacer to hold everything apart so that we don't short it out. And then plastic bag to hold everything together. When I got my bag cell assembled, I put it on a voltmeter and data logger overnight to see how quickly it would discharge. So here's a graph of the first 6 hours of the battery's discharge curve as it came to steady state. So there's no load on this. That initial decrease in the voltage is probably as I manipulated it and mushed fluid around and also let oxygen in. So yeah, a little weird at first, but it came to steady state after 6 to 7 hours and then maintained that 0.6 volts until this morning. So evidently the self-discharge on this design is decent. Another potential problem is degradation of the chemistry, especially those aluminum current collectors during charge-discharge cycles. So we don't yet know if charge-discharge is going to ruin this battery, but we'll get back to that going forward. In the meantime, I think this is a fairly accessible battery construction method. So the question is now, how simple can I make this battery? Can I eliminate that conductive carbon pad? Can I eliminate the polyacrylic acid copolymer separator? It seems to have cut the self-discharge significantly, but we can test that and see if that can be replaced with something cheaper or easier. And then if we can make it cheap and easy enough, can we open source it and make it possible for folks in the community here to assemble their own and test their own? A commenter brought it to my attention that one of the big problems with all of these DIY battery technologies is there aren't many great home chemist accessible ways to quantify how well the battery is performing. I mean, a discharge curve is not terrible, but I think we can come up with some new ways to characterize each half cell and characterize the chemistry as the cell discharges and try to get home chemists some tools to really analyze their projects more rigorously than you can do with just a voltmeter. So if you like that kind of thing, chemistry, batteries, DIY science, tune in Monday through Friday. We update and talk about all that and our own results here in the Allen Lab.